In a second, it's going to be online on YouTube. And okay, we are online, and I'm just pressing the recording button, and you can go ahead. Ji Atul bhai, please go ahead.
Yes. રેવા લોજ વડોદરા, રોહિત લોજ અમદાવાદ અને જ્યોતિ લોજ મુંબઈના ઉપક્રમે આયોજિત ત્રિવેણી મંગળવારના તેલુગુ ફેડરેશન, ઉત્તર પ્રદેશ ફેડરેશન, ગુજરાત અને મુંબઈ ફેડરેશનના આજના ઈ પ્રવચન આપણે સૂર્યથી કેવી રીતે પ્રભાવિત થઈએ છીએ ના વક્તા શ્રી અરુણ આર, દીપિકા પાટેજી, સુરવેલીના મોહંતીજી અને મોડરેટર શ્રી તરલભાઈ મુનશી તેમજ આજની સભામાં હાજર સર્વ સભ્યોનું સ્વાગત કરું છું. કેશવરબેન દસ્તુર આપણને વૈશ્વિક પ્રાર્થનાથી શરૂઆત કરાવશે. કેશવરબેન, આપનું સ્વાગત છે.
O hidden life, vibrant in every atom.
O hidden life, vibrant in every atom.
O hidden light, shining in every creature.
O hidden light, shining in every creature.
O hidden love, embracing all in oneness.
O hidden love, embracing all in oneness.
May each who feels himself as one with thee.
May each who feels himself as one with thee.
know he is also one with every other.
No, he is also one with every other.
Shanti,
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 Shanti, Shanti.
Shanti.
શ્રી તરલભાઈ મુનશીને આજની સભાની આગળની કાર્યવાહી માટે આમંત્રિત કરું છું. તરલભાઈ, આપનું સ્વાગત છે.
Thank you, Atulji. First of all, in between there was a gap due to convention, and we are back. So thank you for joining. And I'll give you a small introduction of Varunji. Varunji is master in mechanical engineering, 13 years of experience in automotive industry. उन्होंने थियोसॉफी को में इंट्रोड्यूस हुए अपने ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स के द्वारा, और वो मेंबर थे, और इसी तरह से उन्होंने लास्ट 7 साल से बेंगलोर सिटी में लॉज में काम किया है. आप सभी लोगों से अनुरोध है कि अपना माइक्रोफोन म्यूट कर लें. पार्टिसिपेशन उन्होंने यंग कॉन्फ्रेंस में किया अडियार में 2018, 2019 में, और शायद अभी 2022 में भी वो होकर आए हैं. योगा थीम पर उन्होंने जन योगा का प्रेजेंटेशन किया था. मेडिटेशन ऑफ ह्यूमन रीजनरेशन का भी उन्होंने प्रेजेंटेशन कर चुके हैं. साइंटिफिक स्टडीज और उनके इफेक्ट ऑन प्रैक्टिसिंग मेडिसिन पे भी वो कार्य कर चुके हैं. इसके अलावा ट्रेजरर हैं टीओएस बेंगलोर के, और टीओएस की सारी एक्टिविटी में बेंगलोर सिटी लॉज में पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं. बहुत अच्छे वक्ता हैं. इसी किताब का एक खंड वो पहले पढ़ चुके थे प्लैनेट्स के बारे में, और अब हम आज सूर्य के बारे में यानी सन के बारे में उनसे जानेंगे. आइए आप इंग्लिश में अपना व्यक्तित्व पूरा कीजिए. यू हैव पार्ट 1, 18 minutes टू गो. थैंक यू सर.
Thank you, namaste. Welcome everybody. Good evening. First of all, I would like to thank everybody responsible for giving this opportunity the second time. So directly or indirectly, whoever is responsible, big thanks to all of you. Yeah, you can make me the presenter, sir.
Yes.
So before I go into today's topic, I'll just very quickly go through the first chapter so that people who have joined today, okay, let them also get that benefit of what happened last time very quickly. In case if you have any questions, we can maybe let
questions we can take in the last time.
Take it later, take it later. But I'll go very quickly what we did in the first thing on the planets. So this is the slide. I'll go quickly. So these are the this is about the first planet, first chapter which we discussed in December. So how planets affect us. So this entire book is written by, as you all know, the C.W. Leadbeater in 1913, and that was a time when people didn't have much awareness of all these things. So it is written at that time. So keeping that context in mind, there are so many new things that is written 100 years back, which is still valid even today. So it starts off with by how we get influenced. There are three parts to the entire book: how we get influenced, how we influence others, and how we influence ourselves. So there are different chapters. All these three we discussed in this year's youth conference, which was there 3 days. So I had taken these 2 chapters as well there. So we'll go ahead with this planet. So one thing is, when we talk about all these planets, one scientific thing is radiations. So there are radiations. When we say the Earth is moving, or different planets are moving at different positions, we know the Earth revolves around the sun. Every 365 days, it completes one loop. So similarly, other planets also do. And when they're all doing this, there's always these radiations that are emitted out. And these radiations, we like it or not, it will have some impact on us, impact on the Earth. Since we are staying on this planet Earth, it will also have direct or indirect effects, depending on the extent of that effect depends on various factors. So that also we'll discuss. So one thing which we made very clear is radiation is a fact. It is scientific and it has to be remembered going ahead. In all the future chapters also, they talk a lot about this radiation. So he makes it very clear in the first chapter that be clear about this radiation, although you cannot see. So please don't dismiss it because we cannot see it in our eyes, but these effects are always there. So this is what he mentions, the summary of this slide. So I'll just go through very quickly. So we spoke about the deity of the solar system, and we spoke a little bit about what is this logos, because he explains in theosophical literature, this word logos comes in almost various textbooks. You may be aware of all those things. So I've just put an image to show what the solar logos is and all the different schemes, 10 different schemes. So this is called the solar logos, and there might be different logos. This is one set of which has 10 schemes, but there might be other things also which still we do not know much about. So one is the Vulcan scheme, Venus scheme, Earth scheme. So these are all the things we discussed last time. So going ahead, we said we will discuss only on the number 3, Earth scheme. What is shown here, right? What is shown, the Earth scheme. So number 3. So that is what we'll be discussing in the further slides. It talks about the chains, globes, etc. So these are the things we discussed last chapter. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So that is the Earth scheme. So each A, B, C is all called the globes, and for the Earth scheme, C, D, and D are the physical planets. So B and F are the astral globes, and A and G are the lower mental. So why is it astral? Why is it lower mental? And what about higher mental? So these are very again deep concepts. If we keep talking, we can go on discussing about these things for one full session. But just for the interest of time, we discussed that suppose globe A gets, it's all cyclic evolution. Evolution is based on the cyclic method. So that is what we are discussing. And when A is active, B, C, D, E, F, and G will be dormant. And similarly, when B is active in its development of consciousness, or whatever you can say, when B is developing, so C, D, E, F, G, and A will be dormant. So like that. So each globe has to get into that active state 7 times. So this is what we discussed. The number 7 is why it is so important in this esoteric philosophy or all these textbooks. What is discussed, the number 7 holds the key. And we talked about why the number 7 is so important. So each of these has to undergo 7 cycles of activation and what you can say dormancy and activation. So when it undergoes 7 complete rounds, so then it is called one chain. So like this, here you can see there are 7 different arrows, right? So A should undergo 7 cycles, B 7 cycles, D 7 cycles, like that. Everything has to undergo 7 times, 7 into 7, like it will become 49. So this one complete circle is called as one round. And when this 7 rounds it's completed, when all these 7 rounds are completed, it is called as one chain period. So now, as of now, the Earth is going through the 7th round, and it is at the 4th globe position, and it is in the 4th round and the 5th chain. So this is what we discussed. We discussed it in detail, but today I'm going a little fast. So don't worry, if you have any questions, we'll discuss later. So again, we talked about different types of matter. As you see in this first diagram on the top left, we all know, people who are familiar with theosophy will know that all the 7 planes are made up of 7 different types of matter, and the densest is a physical, and the more we go higher, it becomes more lighter and lighter and lighter. So that how these different types of matter affect us, how it affects our planet Earth. Because our planet Earth is also in the physical condition today, but it doesn't mean that Earth has come into the physical state directly. So Earth has also gone through its evolution. It has gone through its higher mental, lower, then it has come to astral, and then it has come into the physical level. So even Earth has, similar to our human body, so even the planet Earth has its astral and lower mental and other aspects. So again, each of these things are made up of different kinds of matter. And radiations, because everything is there on the solar system, all these planets are moving around, there are radiations, and these radiations affect the Earth. And since we are on the Earth, so it affects us. So that is what we discussed. And how it affects us. So here is where the rays, concept of rays comes in. We say the 7 great living centers. So each of these 7 centers have 7 streams of forces, and all these forces are again affected through radiation. So we have a dominant character. Suppose we say we belong to 1 ray, 4th ray, 5th ray, 6th ray. Again, it's a different topic altogether, but just to link it to this chapter, how it affects us, because we entire thing, after studying these 2 chapters, we have to know how planets affect us, how the sun affects us. So this is where the ray aspects comes in. And so each animal, each plant, each mineral gets a fundamental characteristics, which is what we call as ray. And because all these forces are again radiation, so it affects, the radiation affects these centers, and it affects the Earth. So naturally, it affects the human beings also. So what is their influence? So although we talk about all these things, and to complete one chain, right, one globe, the Earth takes, to complete the 7 rounds, the Earth takes about millions of years ago. But we live hardly for how many years? We live hardly for 80, 100 years. It's a cyclic evolution, as you all know. So as the planetary undergoes cyclic evolution, so humans are also undergoing the cyclic evolution. So whatever we may call reincarnation or whatever. So we are also going through the same thing. So as above, so below, we say. So the same kind of cyclic evolution, so we are also undergoing. So for us, when we compare the Earth's evolution, it's millions and millions of years. And when we compare our own life, it is like 70, 80 years. And we feel that in 70, 80 years, why we do not change? Why is this? We blame others. Why this person does not change? I'm seeing him from 40 years, 50 years, he's remaining the same. It doesn't happen so easily. These are small things. When the Earth itself is undergoing evolution for millions of years ago, millions and millions of years. So we also, it's a slow process. So that's why many people are so stubborn, so stuck to their ideas, so conditioned. Change is not so simple. So that is the biggest takeaway that we took, that it's an evolutionary process, cyclic evolutionary process, and how much of this influences us, all these radiations, etc. Of course, they will have their influence. All this planetary, we talk about astrology. Since beginning, this is a new year, most of you would have gone to the astrologer, and maybe in the televisions you might have been seeing how this year might be for us. Again, they all talk about this different planetary positions, how it might affect all the categories, right? So it does affect for sure, but it is not the entire thing. It is not 100% that it will take control of your things. So main thing is, as it is mentioned in the first point here, the important thing is the man's will. So nothing can be higher than this man's will. Of course, all these radiations will have the effects. We cannot deny that it will have its effect, but it all depends on the man's will. If the man's will is strong enough, if he's determined, and if his views are aligned to the laws of nature, and if he is working for the betterment of his laws of nature, so naturally his progression will go ahead. It doesn't, there will be positive forces, there will be negative forces because of these radiations. But if the man's will takes over, if his will is higher, or if his will is greater, all these forces can become dormant. So that is the biggest takeaway. These two are the biggest takeaways that we mentioned in the first chapter. One is a cyclic evolution, we cannot deny this. And second is, in spite of all these effects of these radiations, it is a man's will that becomes important at the end. So last point is very important. You can just read through. So I went very fast, but I think you will all have an idea. So karma may throw a man into a certain surroundings or bring him under certain influences, but it can never force him to commit a crime, though it may so place him that it requires great determination on his part to avoid that crime. So karma may put a person in certain situations. It may force us to do something. But if we feel that it is wrong, if we feel that it's against the will or against the laws of nature, if we are willing to stand by it, we can change our action. Or we might be a normal human being and we can give our, we can surrender to all these forces, imaginary forces, and we can go on to do anything which we wish, but we will have to face that again, maybe in this life itself or in some other life. So this is a very quick summary of what we did last time. So this was about the planets. I'll stop here. So we'll go to the today's topic on house. So we will go, yeah, I'll go to the sun, the main chapter. So today what we'll be dealing with is the sun. So heat of the sun. So these are the very quick outlines. I will go through I'll go to the vitality and I'll stop for this session. And the last two parts, the vitalytic globule and the absorption of vitality, we will do it in the second half. So looking at now coming to the sun, we saw about the planets, rounds, change, etc. But we'll carry it forward now and we'll see how the sun affects us. The sun, if you see, the whole solar system is truly a garment of its deity, but the sun is his veritable epiphany, the nearest that we can come in the physical realm to a manifestation of him, the lens through which his power shines forth through upon us. So for us, the sun is anybody. It doesn't matter which country we live in, or we all are kind of struck by this energy of the sun. For us, many worship even sun, not only in India, maybe in even other countries. So it's like in the physical realm, it is like a physical manifestation of him. Him is nothing but the ultimate source or the ultimate energy, what we call. So we can easily say that the sun is this physical representation that we can connect through in this physical realm. So I put this image just to carry forward the message that was given in the previous, that the life evolves through the circular evolution. Evolution is what we say happens in cycle, right? So similarly, even for the sun, there are cycles. This is one cycle of 11 years for the sun. This is the image taken from NASA from 1996 to 2006. So this is the sun's magnetic field, which flips every 11 years. The north and the south pole of the sun, the magnetic field of the sun flips every 11 years. So sun also is undergoing this cyclic changes like the earth. So this is called, at the center, it is called the solar maxima, and these two extremes, it is called the solar minimum. Means the magnetic activities are highest here and the lowest at these two things. And of course, it will have the radiations which comes out during this particular year may be high. In this particular year, it may be low. But again, these are all radiations. It all keeps coming to the earth. It all keeps affecting us. just to put forward that same idea, I have just put this image. But going ahead, so the heat of the sun. So when did it start and how long it is going to be? That is the biggest question everybody will have. So when did it start? So people like astronomy and all, they take into account that because the sun is contracting, the heat of the sun is generated. The heat is coming because of the contraction. That is the basis, and with that basis, they went on to study. So when did the heat of the sun begin and how long it will last? And based on this calculation, they could end up with only certain lakhs of years. It started certain lakhs of years before, and it is going to end certain lakhs of years. But that is not true. So on the other hand, we have these geologists in the earth. They have found a lot of trees, a lot of things under the sea that have come into life millions of years ago in this planet Earth. So that means there was life on this planet Earth millions of years ago. If there was life on this planet Earth, so the sun should have been the heat of the sun should have been coming much before that. So it clearly concludes from this scientific studies, from the astronomical, from the geological point of view, that the sun is much older than the earth. So earth itself, we have examples of life being in the earth for millions of years ago. So the sun should be before the earth. So because that is the entire force. That is what is holding all the planets together, the gravitation, whatever we speak. So the heat of the sun, so how long it will last? It will definitely last until the earth completes its 7th round. So we saw in the previous chapter, the earth is in the 4th round, etc. So, and we saw each round takes millions of years. So it will definitely be, the heat of the sun is definitely going to come until the earth completes its round of evolution. Okay, we can take as simple as that, we can take it as that. And again, to relate to our own body, so when we are alive, it doesn't matter which part of the country or which country we are or at which altitude we are, always our temperature in the body will be like 36 degrees plus or minus 2-3. So it will not vary much. Suppose people at a higher altitude may have a different slight variation, or people living in colder countries may have 1 or 2 degrees here and there, but still, as long as there is life in our body, the temperature is going to be 36. Same way, as long as there is life in this earth, the heat of the sun is going to be there. Only when we die, our body starts to cool down, right? We can feel, doctors say that as soon as we die and we see the body color changes to blue, it means it's cooling down. So same concept. So life concept, as long as there is life, it is going to be there. So this is one thing that we can directly say. That is what point number 3 is saying. So if we realize that the sun is the physical manifestation of the solar deity, we shall see that the mighty life behind it will assuredly keep up its temperature as long as may be necessary for the full evolution of the system. Full evolution of the system is, as I said, the 7 rounds, whatever it is. For the Earth, I'm saying, but again, there are for other planets are undergoing cyclic evolution, and their cycles are different. So as long as all this evolution goes away, the heat of the sun is going to stay. So this is what we can say. Next, we'll go to vitality. After this, I'll stop. So just as the sun floods the system with the light and heat, so does it perpetually pour out into it another force as yet unsuspected by modern science, a force of which has been given the name vitality. It is called prana. I think the word prana is very familiar for Indians and theosophists. Yes, it should be more familiar. You take anything, any book of text of theosophy or Upanishads, the mention of this prana is there way beyond. So we will look at this in detail. So vitality here, nothing, it means nothing, it is just the prana. What they're referring to is just the prana. And where is this prana and how it affects us? So this is radiated at all levels and manifests itself in each realm, physical, emotional, mental, and the rest. So in the physical realm, it enters some of the physical atoms, so immensely increases its activity and makes them animated and glowing. So we will see about these physical atoms. What are these physical atoms? Is it present in our body? If at all it is present in our body, so how this prana enters our body and what are the functions that these pranas do and what are the different kinds of pranas, etc. in the coming slides. But to keep it very simple, the author says these are the three great forms of energy that is described in, if you take it even the secret doctrine, they talk about these three forces. There might be several other great forms of energy, but these three are very distinct. One is electricity, or what we call as fohat, very familiar if you've gone through this secret doctrine. The other is the vitality, and the third is the serpent fire or the kundalini. So these are the three great forms of energy, and the main quality of these three things is the main distinction between these forms of energy and compared to any other form of energy like light, heat, whatever. There are so many different kinds of energies. Is they cannot be converted into others. So electricity or the fohat, what we call, cannot be converted into prana, or prana cannot be converted into kundalini. So they both, all these three are very distinct and they cannot be interchanged or converted. So that is what we can blindly take it for going ahead. But again, you might have a lot of questions, but the intention of this chapter is to just introduce you to this concept, and you have to go in depth, go back, read all this, because the author himself gives reference to various chapters, various other textbooks. He just introduces, for example, in the third point, he talks about the three great outpourings. He says that this electricity, vitality, and the serpent fire is not the three great outpourings. But when we talk about these three great outpourings itself, we can go on to talk about one full day, right? It is so much in depth. So what are these three great outpourings? Maybe we can discuss in later. But to keep it short, these are the evolutionary forces again. The third outpouring is responsible for the creation of the 7 planes. The second outpouring is responsible for creation of all the lower kingdoms. And the third outpouring is responsible for the human soul, activation of this human soul. So again, it is all, he is mentioning that for just to blindly take it forward, you only thing to remember out of this slide as a summary is these three forces, what I have mentioned is electricity, vitality, serpent fire. It is not something that is mentioned in the three great outpourings. If you remember this, then so we'll go ahead. So vitality, this is the last slide. So where does this vitality come? Where does this vitality come and how it comes? So that is what we'll explain. Taking example of this atom. So we all know these are all the electrons. These electrons are on the different shells. So this is one shell, and this is another shell. So each shell has different energies. And this is the nucleus. So nucleus has positrons and the neutrons. So we know that positive and negative attracts each other, right? And positive or negative and negative repels. So this is positive, all concentrated together in a nucleus of an atom. So that is what is holding all these nucleons in its place. So this is what we call electric force. This is simply, we call it as electric force. But that is not the interesting. The interesting thing is what happens here in the middle. This is the nucleus. So nucleus has all positrons. It is all positive. So as per our knowledge, so positive and positive should repel. It should go away. But it is all staying together in that nucleus. How is it possible? As per all the laws of science, it should all go away, but still they are in that small space called nucleus. How is it possible? It is very simple. That there is some other force which is greater than this repulsive force, which is holding all these things together. So that is the very thing. Even in scientific aspects, they don't have answers for this. How? So what is this force holding all these positrons together in all these atoms? So they don't have an answer. Okay, so there is some other force from outside. It is coming. It's not there anywhere outside. It is within. So these forces are within, and this force is greater than this repulsive force. So that is the one that I'm mentioning in blue color. But this force, which we call vitality, comes to the atom not from without, but from within. So it means that this is not coming from somewhere else. It is there within, and it is greater than this repulsive force. Between positive and positive, it should repel. So it is something greater than that, which is holding together. That is not coming anywhere from external, that is coming from internal. So we'll keep this as a point to remember, and we'll see how it affects us, how something similar is there within our body and how it affects. So we'll take it in the next session. I'll stop it here. Yeah.
Thank you, Varun. Yeah. Can I have Deepika ji आपका and please close this thing presentation. Yeah. तो quickly दीपिका जी का इंट्रोडक्शन दूंगा मैं कि दीपिका पाटे जी राजा मुंदरी थियोसॉफिकल लॉज से संबंधित हैं और उन्होंने अपना ग्रेजुएशन फिनिश किया पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड वर्क, और अभी इस वक्त एक रिक्रूटमेंट मैनेजर की तरह कोटक महिंद्रा ग्रुप में काम कर रही हैं। उन्होंने एजुकेशनल ट्रेनर की तरह आईआईटी स्टूडेंट और इंजीनियरिंग स्टूडेंट्स को भी पढ़ाया है। वर्कड एज अ लेक्चरर एंड वर्कड एज अ प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर इन फ्यूचर जनरली ऑल्सो। She has participated in many spiritual meetings and gave classical dance performance also. जी, उन्होंने कुचिपुड़ी और भरतनाट्यम में अपने नृत्य का प्रदर्शन किया है और थियोसॉफी सोसाइटी में भी किया है। सेंटिनरी सेलिब्रेशन जो होते हैं तेलुगु फेडरेशन के, उसमें भी किया है। हम सभी जानते हैं कि साईराम पाटे जी जो सेक्रेटरी हैं ताडे पहले गुडम थियोसॉफिकल लॉज के और डायरेक्टर ऑफ प्रोपोगंडा भी हैं तेलुगु फेडरेशन के। आप दोनों एक दूसरे के साथ एक विवाह बंधन में बंधे हैं और इस तरह से एक अलग जर्नी थियोसॉफी की भी शुरू कर रहे हैं। इनके जो पिताश्री थे केवी गोपाल कृष्णा, वे सेक्रेटरी थे राजा मुंदरी थियोसॉफिकल लॉज के और तेलुगु फेडरेशन के लेक्चरर भी थे और पेरेंट्स के कारण ही वे थियोसॉफी में आई हैं। और उनकी जो आंट है जे रजनी, वो भी प्रेसिडेंट थी थियोसॉफिकल लॉज की। और इसी तरह करीब करीब 70 साल से उनके जो ग्रैंडफादर हैं वो भी थियोसॉफी में थे। तो एक बहुत लंबा इतिहास है इनके परिवार में थियोसॉफी का। पिछले कुछ वक्त से त्रिवेणी में आ रही हैं, बहुत बहुत बधाई। और प्लीज अपनी वार्ता आप 9 से 10 मिनट में कर सकती हैं, अगर आप पिछला समाप्त कर सकती हैं तो। थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. Namaste to all. Am I audible, sir? Is it clear?
Yeah. Very, very good. Your voice is coming good.
Thank you. Coming to the subject, I am telling in Telugu.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir. సూర్యుడు వాటి యొక్క ప్రభావం. ఖగోళ శాస్త్రంలో ఆసక్తి ఉన్నవారు అకల్టిజం, క్షుద్ర శక్తులని కనుక్కోవాలి అని అనుకుంటూ ఉంటారు. ఆ విజ్ఞాన శాస్త్రం యొక్క దారిలో మనకు అందుబాటులో అధ్యయనాల్లో ఇది కూడా ఒక సబ్జెక్ట్. సహజంగానే అటువంటి పుస్తకాలు చేర్చడానికి ఇది ఒకేసారి కాకుండా సాంకేతికంగా కూడా చేర్చబడింది. మనం రోజువారీ జీవితంలో ఆచరణాత్మకంగా మనల్ని ప్రభావితం చేస్తుంది. ఈ సూర్య శక్తి అన్నది మనల్ని ఎప్పటికప్పుడు ప్రభావితం చేస్తూనే ఉంటుంది. కానీ ఆ జీవితంలో సూర్యునికి ఉన్న సంబంధం, అతని గురించి మనం కొన్ని మాటల్లో చెప్పుకుందాం. మొత్తం సౌర వ్యవస్థకి ఇది ఒక దైవత్వానికి ఉన్న వస్త్రం లాంటిది. కానీ సూర్యుడు అందులో యథార్థమైన పదార్థం. దాని యొక్క అభివ్యక్త శక్తి మనపై ప్రకాశిస్తూ ఉంటుంది. భౌతిక దృక్కోణంలో నుండి పూర్తిగా పరిగణించాల్సి ఉంటుంది. సూర్యుని ఊహించలేనంత అధిక ఉష్ణోగ్రత హీట్ వద్ద మెరుస్తున్న ఒక పదార్థం. వాటి యొక్క విస్తారమైన ద్రవ్యరాశి, విద్యుత్ కిరణము, వాటి యొక్క పరిస్థితి చాలా తీవ్రంగా ఉంటుంది. ఖగోళ శాస్త్రవేత్తలు అలాగే భూగర్భ శాస్త్రవేత్తలు ఈ సూర్యుని యొక్క కాలమును పరీక్షిస్తే సుమారు 10 లక్షల సంవత్సరాలు వెలుగుతుంది అని మనకి చెప్పడం జరిగింది. ఈ సూర్యశక్తి యొక్క నిజ జీవనం అగ్ని కాదు, ఒక ప్రాణంతో నిండి ఉంది. దీని ఉష్ణోగ్రత మరియు అదే విధంగా సూర్యుని యొక్క భౌతిక అభివ్యక్తి అని మనం గ్రహిస్తే ఇదంతా అర్థమవుతుంది మనకి. ఈ వ్యవస్థ యొక్క పూర్తి పరిణామము అవసరమయ్యే కాలం, ఉష్ణోగ్రతలు నిశ్చయంగా ఉండడం గురించి ఇదంతా జరుగుతున్న వ్యవస్థ. దాన్ని మనం ఎప్పటికప్పుడు గ్రహిస్తూ ఉండాలి. మనం ఎప్పుడైతే అనుభూతి చెందుతామో వాటి పదార్థాల వెనక, ప్రతి పదార్థం జీవి వెనక ఉన్న అద్భుతమైన నిర్మాణము, అలాగే వాటిలో ఉన్న శక్తి మనకి కనబడుతూనే ఉంటుంది. మేడం బ్లావస్కీ గారు కూడా దాన్నే చెప్పడం జరిగింది. నిజానికి వాటిని ఎటువంటి జీవిని కూడా మనం, ఈ శక్తి కలిగిన జీవిని వర్ణించలేము, అది వర్ణనకు అతీతం అని చెప్పడం జరిగింది. ఇప్పుడు మనం వైటాలిటీ అంటే ప్రకాశము అన్నది చూద్దాం. మనకు తెలిసిన ఈ శక్తులు మాత్రమే కాదు, ఇక్కడ మనకి కంటికి కనిపించేవి, మన శాస్త్రవేత్తలు కనుగొన్న శక్తి మాత్రమే లేదు. ఇంకొక శక్తి కూడా ఉంది. అదేంటంటే ప్రతి జీవిలో ఉండే స్వీయ శక్తి, అంటే ఓన్, విత్ ఇన్ ఫ్రమ్ విత్ ఇన్. ఇది సైన్స్ కి అతీతంగా ఉంటుంది. ఇది అన్ని స్థాయిల్లో ప్రకాశిస్తూ ఉంటుంది. వాటిని ఇందులో 4 రకాలు: భౌతికం, భావోద్వేగం, మానసికం. భౌతికం ఫిజికల్, భావోద్వేగం ఎమోషనల్, అండ్ మానసికం మెంటల్. మరియు అన్ని రంగాల్లో కూడా ఇది ప్రసారించడం జరుగుతుంది. మనం సూక్ష్మంగా గమనిస్తే ఇది ప్రతి చిన్న కణములో నుండి నడుస్తూనే ఉంటుంది. వాటిలో ఉన్న కదలికలు భావాన్ని, ప్రకాశాన్ని దోహదం చేస్తూనే ఉంటాయి. ఇందులో మనకు ముఖ్యంగా 3 గురించి తెలుసుకోవాలి. అవి ఏమిటంటే, వాటిలో ఒకటి విద్యుత్, రెండవది ప్రసారం జరిగే తేజము, మూడవది సర్పాగ్ని అంటే కుండలిని. దీని గురించి మనకి ద ఇన్నర్ లైఫ్ అనే పుస్తకంలో కూడా వివరించడం జరిగింది. ఈ విద్యుత్ కణాలు అంటే పరమాణువు, ఆటమ్స్, వీటి గుండా ప్రసారిస్తూ విక్షేపణ జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. మనకి ముందుగా తెలుసు న్యూక్లియస్, వాటిలో ప్రోటాన్స్, ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్, న్యూట్రాన్స్ అనే 3 కణాలు ఉంటాయి. వాటి యొక్క వల్లనే అన్ని జీవుల్లోని మనకి కదలికలు, జీవం అన్నది ప్రశాంతంగా జరుగుతూ పోతుంది. జీవితం యొక్క విధాలు చాలా భిన్నంగా ఉంటాయి. వీటి జీవితం యొక్క భిన్నాలు విద్యుత్ కాంతి లేదా వేడి అని కూడా మనం చెప్పడం జరుగుతుంది. ఇవి విద్యుత్ యొక్క డోలనాన్ని కలిగిస్తాయి. ఒక డోలనం ఒక పరమాణువుతో పోలిస్తే అది అపారమైనది, మనం చెప్పుకోలేనటువంటిది. కానీ జీవశక్తి అని పిలిచేది ఆ అణువుని ఏదైతే మనం పిలుస్తామో దాన్ని వెలుపల నుండి, బయట నుంచి కాకుండా లోపల నుంచి వచ్చే శక్తిగా మనం గుర్తించాల్సి ఉంటుంది. ఈ తేజము ఒక గోబ్యూల్, ఒక అపారమైన భౌతిక కణము. అందులో మొత్తం 14,000 మిలియన్లు బుడగ గదులు అనేవి ఉండడం జరుగుతుంది. అదొక ప్రత్యేక రూపంలో నిర్దిష్టమైనది. అవి పూర్తిగా సంకల్పంతో ప్రయాణం చేస్తూ ఉంటాయి, ఒకదానిపై ఒకటి ఆధారపడి ఉంటాయి. ఒక తక్షణం హరించిన మనకి ఈ బుడగ గదులు అన్నవి విడిపోవడం జరుగుతుంది. అది కూడా చాలా పిడుగు వేగంతో మనకి ఆ విచక్షణ అన్నది జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది, ఆ విభజన అన్నది జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. ఇది భౌతికం రాజ్యం యొక్క కాలం కంటే చాలా తక్కువ వ్యవధిలో ఇటువంటి జరుగుతూ ఉంటాయి. అందుచేత ఇది ఒక భ్రమ వంటిది, మనం ఊహించడానికి అతీతంగా ఉంటుంది. పరమాణువు నిర్మించడంలో కోయిలస్ లోని రంధ్రాలు మాత్రమే అంతరిక్షం యొక్క నిజమైన ఈథర్. ఈ గోబ్యూల్ యొక్క ఒకసారి పుట్టిన తేజం అది ఎటువంటి శక్తులకి లోన్ అవ్వదు. అది ఎప్పుడైతే జీవశక్తితో కలుస్తుందో అప్పుడు వాటికి నిజమైన కదలిక, ఒక ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ అన్నది వాటిలో వస్తుంది. తేజం
Deepika ji, 2 minutes more remaining.
actually okay sir, it was completed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you can just stop here. Sulina ji will take over from Hindi. Okay. Thank you. Let me give introduction of Sulina ji. वो लाइफ मेंबर हैं थियोसॉफिकल सोसाइटी की इंडिया सिंस 2003 से. उन्होंने बहुत सारे यूथ कैंप्स में भाग लिया हुआ है एज, और बहुत सारे यूथ लोगों को तैयार भी उन्होंने किया है. एक शिक्षिका की तरह हैं वे, और उन्होंने बहुत सारे एनजीओ और ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में काम किया है और होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट की है बच्चों की. उन्होंने एक नई लॉज आरंभ की है, प्रयास लॉज, जिसमें बहुत सारे युवा लोग मतलब तैयार हो रहे हैं. और इसके जो मेंबर्स हैं वो मोस्टली एकदम यंग चिल्ड्रन हैं या यूथ हैं. वीकली मीटिंग्स होती हैं, सेमिनार करती हैं, और नृत्य और नाटिकाओं में भी इसके थ्रू भी वे थियोसॉफिकल आइडियाज को प्रसारित करती हैं. मेंबरशिप के पिछले 17 साल में सुल्ला जी ने बहुत एक्टिव टीओएस मेंबर की तरह काम किया है और अंडर प्रिविलेज चिल्ड्रन के लिए भी बहुत सारा काम किया है. दिल्ली रीजन में 2016 में रीजनल सेक्रेटरी थी और बहुत डेडिकेटली अभी भी काम कर रही हैं, और हमारे त्रिवेणी में भी बहुत सक्रिय रूप से भाग लेती हैं. धन्यवाद सुरीना जी. आइए अपना व्यक्तित्व आप 10 मिनट में पूरा कीजिए. धन्यवाद.
थैंक यू तरल जी. एंड जैसा कि ब्रदर वरुण और सिस्टर दीपिका ने काफी अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन किया है, मैं ज्यादा समय बोलूंगी नहीं, बहुत ही शॉर्ट में जितना पार्ट तक वरुण और दीपिका ने कवर किया है उतना मैं हिंदी में एज अ ट्रांसलेटर में बताऊंगी. मैं कुछ नई चीजें बताने वाली हूँ नहीं. जिनको हिंदी में इंटरेस्ट है सुनने में, समझने में, बस उन्हीं के लिए मैं बता रही हूँ.
जी जी, बेहतर.
जैसे कि चैप्टर 2 में हमें हीट ऑफ द सन एंड वाइटलिटी के बारे में बताया गया. सो हीट ऑफ द सन में क्या आता है? सिंपली स्पीकिंग, सूरज की जो गर्मी है, जो ताप है, जो गर्माहट हमें महसूस होता है. सो बेसिकली हमें 3 चीजें यहाँ समझनी होगी. ये जो सौर मंडल है जिसको हम एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं, जिसको हम देखते हैं, ये संपूर्ण सौर मंडल क्या है वास्तव में? ये अगेन एक व्हीकल मान सकते हैं उसको, एक एज अ उनका क्लोथिंग मान सकते हैं हम, जो डीटी के देवता के. ठीक है. और हम भौतिक क्षेत्र में जो भी हमारी अभिव्यक्ति होती है, जब उनके संस्पर्श में आते हैं और उनको एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं, हम उस हीट को एक्सपीरियंस जरूर करते हैं. बहुत ही सिंपली स्पीकिंग अगर मैं बोलूं, सुबह उठ के, हालांकि यहाँ जैसे बहुत ठंड है, जैसे हम सूरज को देखते हैं वो बहुत दूर है, पर हम लोग कहते हैं ना, हम उनको नजर नहीं मिला सकते. कुछ तो है, वो जो ऑरा है, वो जो गर्माहट है, वो इतना स्पार्कलिंग और इतना हीट है उसके अंदर, आप उनको डायरेक्ट परसीव नहीं कर पाते हैं. हम बड़ी आंखें खोल के उनको देख नहीं सकते डायरेक्टली. क्यों? क्योंकि वो जो गर्मी है या जो पावर है उनमें, वो हमारे पास बहुत स्तर बाय स्तर बोलते हैं ना, एकदम लेयर बाय लेयर रीच आउट करती है. जो एक्चुअल गर्मी तक तो हम पहुंच ही नहीं सकते हैं. तो जो भौतिक फिजिकल प्लेन में जो हम एक्सपीरियंस कर रहे हैं, वो उसका बहुत ही मिनिएचर पार्ट है. उस हिसाब से देखा जाए तो वो जो एनर्जी का बंडल है, जो पावर है, वो इतना हाईली एक्टिवेटेड और हाईली एनर्जेटिक है, और उसका वाइब्रेशन कितना हाई है. अगर हम इसको भौतिक दृष्टि से देखें तो हम ये जानेंगे कि जो सूर्य का जो ये रूप है, जो जिस वस्त्र को हम देखते हैं या जिस व्हीकल को हम देखते हैं, हम इसको इमेजिन ही नहीं कर सकते. अकल्पनीय रूप है इसको बोलते हैं इसलिए. और जो चमकदार पदार्थ को हम एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं, उसका जो विशालता है, उसका जो वास्टनेस है, इट इज वे बियॉन्ड आवर इमेजिनेशन. क्योंकि उसकी जो एक विद्युतीकरण की बात करी गई, जो वरुण ने बताया, इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन की जो बात उन्होंने बताई, इसकी स्थिति में ये जो इलेक्ट्रीफाइंग एनर्जी है वो इतना फास्ट भी है. सो इसकी प्रॉपर्टी अगर हम देखेंगे, ये हीट है, वाइब्रेटिंग है, इसका मतलब इसमें मोशन है. ये नहीं कि वो कोई स्थिर है, वो मोशन में है, गतिशील है, इसलिए हमारी पूरी लाइफ भी चल रही है उसी से। बढ़िया एग्जाम्पल जो ब्रदर वरुण ने बताया कि जब हमारा प्राण, हम अपने प्राण शक्ति को खो देते हैं, हम ठंडे पड़ जाते हैं, तो अंदर है वो गर्माहट। पूरे इवोल्यूशन प्रोसेस में जितनी सारी चीजों को हम देख रहे हैं, वो अंदर वाली जो गर्मी है, आगे जाके हमें उस हीट एनर्जी के बारे में डिटेल में बताया जाएगा इस चैप्टर में, बट बेसिक हमें समझना पड़ेगा कि जो इंटरनल है, वो अंदर जो है, जो विदिन है, वो जो हीट एनर्जी है वो बहुत वास्ट है, और उसी का रिफ्लेक्शन, उसी का मैनिफेस्टेशन कण कण में है, कण कण में है वो हीट एनर्जी। फिर बात होती है वाइटलिटी की। जिस प्रकार सूर्य अपने शरीर को प्रकाश और उष्मा से भर देते हैं, क्योंकि जो सूर्य, जो डीटी हम जिनको मानते हैं, उनका जैसे प्रकाश और उष्मता, ये दो चीजें जैसे उनकी प्रॉपर्टी है, ये इवोल्यूशन के हर कंपोनेंट में भी है, एटॉमिक लेवल पे। चाहे हम उसको जो 3 महान रूप बोला गया है इसमें, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बोले, वाइटलिटी बोले, जो हमारा सर्पेंट फायर है जो विदिन है, इसको हिंदी में हम क्या बोलेंगे, विद्युतिक शक्ति जो बोलेंगे, प्राण शक्ति बोलेंगे, हमारे एक अंदर के, हम बोलते हैं ना आग है, अंदर की अग्नि है, जिसको बोलते हैं कि उसको जगाना है, हमारा पूरा सिस्टम इसी से ऑपरेट होता है। ये साइंटिफिकली अगर आप देखेंगे, सारा सिस्टम, रेस्पिरेशन, डाइजेशन, एवरीथिंग, वो उसी आग से ही, उस जो प्राण शक्ति बोले या उसकी हीट एनर्जी बोले, और उसकी इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन इसलिए बोला जाता है क्योंकि वो एक वाइब्रेटिंग एनर्जी है जो चार्ज अप करती है हमें। जैसे हम इलेक्ट्रिसिटी को लेके हमारा मोबाइल चार्ज करते हैं, लैपटॉप चार्ज करते हैं ना, उससे कई गुना ज्यादा पावरफुल है, ये हमें समझना पड़ेगा। और ये बहुत ही डिस्टिंक्ट रूप से रहते हैं, अलग अलग रूप से, और ऐसा नहीं कि वो कन्वर्ट होते हैं एक दूसरे से, नहीं, बहुत ही डिस्टिंक्टली है, लेकिन जुड़े हुए हैं। और इंटरेस्टिंगली हर एटम में इस तरह से है, परमाणु के अंदर, अणु के अंदर। और जो दिव्य जीवन के बारे में बताया गया, इसका जो एक प्रवाह है, एक स्रोत है, उसमें हम जितने आगे बढ़ते जाएंगे, इवॉल्व होते जाएंगे, प्लेन बाय प्लेन, हमारे 7 स्तर की बात जो करी गई है, लेयर बाय लेयर, प्लेन बाय प्लेन, हमारा जैसे जैसे डेवलपमेंट होता जाएगा, जो सोलर लोगोस को हम मानते हैं, उनके साथ हमारा जुड़ाव बढ़ता जाएगा, और हमारे इवोल्यूशन प्रोसेस में उसी एनर्जी से हम आगे डेवलप होते गए हैं। हम प्री ह्यूमन किंगडम तक भी वही थे, आज ह्यूमन किंगडम में भी उसी को हम अब्सॉर्ब कर रहे हैं। और कैसे अब्सॉर्ब कर रहे हैं, प्राण शक्ति कैसे आगे बढ़ेगी और कैसे हमें कनेक्ट करेगी हमारे एवोल्यूशन प्रोसेस में, ये आगे हम जरूर पढ़ेंगे। ये तो बुक में काफी डिटेल में लिखा गया है। मैंने बस इतनी चीजें जो लगा कि हमें हिंदी में मैं आपको शॉर्टली बता दूं कि हीट है, बहुत बड़े रूप में है, और हमारे अलग अलग प्लेन्स में हम उसको एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं, और ये अलग अलग एनर्जी फॉर्मेशन में मैनिफेस्ट होके हमें जो हमारा ये जिंदा रहना या हमारे गतिशील होना, हमारे अंदर का एनर्जी का कन्वर्जन होके अलग अलग चीजों में आना, ये सब उस प्राण शक्ति, उस ऊर्जा का महत्व है। एंड इस यहाँ पे बिफोर वरुण और दीपिका इसको और चैप्टर को आगे ले जाएं, मैं जो पर्सनली मानती हूँ कि सूरज जो है वही है लिविंग गॉड, जिनको हम डायरेक्ट एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं। हम लोग बहुत मूर्तियों की पूजा करते होंगे, बहुत सारे चीजों को अब्सॉर्ब करते होंगे, बहुत सारी चीजों के बारे में पढ़ा होगा, सुना होगा, बट एक ही जो एनर्जी है जो बिल्कुल हमारे सामने, बिल्कुल सुबह उठते ही जो दिखता है वही है। मैं उनको भगवान मानती हूँ, मेरे लिए वही एक लिविंग गॉड है जिनको हम डायरेक्ट एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं। और हम क्या करते हैं ना, सुबह उठने से कतराते हैं और हमें वो फ्रीली आके वेलकम करते हैं, फिर भी हम वी आर शटिंग आवर डोर। इसलिए अगर हम सुबह उठे और उनको एक्सपीरियंस करें, लोग कहते हैं कि सन बाथ लो, लोग कहते हैं कि उनसे एनर्जी लो, साइंस ये कहता है, तो बेसिकली उस साइंस को हम अगर अपने आर्ट में कन्वर्ट करें, हम अपने लिविंग में कन्वर्ट करें, जरूर हम उस एनर्जी का असली महत्व को समझेंगे, हमने लाइफ में उसको हम उतारने की कोशिश करेंगे, क्योंकि वही असली प्राण है। थैंक यू। फिर आगे का पढ़ते हैं।
वाह, बहुत बढ़िया सुनीला जी, आपने वाकई में हिंदी में बहुत बढ़िया कहा। वरुण जी, यू कैन प्लीज गो अहेड।
So we saw till here. So next we'll talk about this vitality globule. So what is this globule, etc. So the atom in itself, nothing but the manifestation of the force. The solar deity wills a certain shape, which we call an ultimate physical atom. And by that effort of his will, some 14,000 million bubbles are held in that particular form. So no need to worry about these numbers. So we all know it, bubbles are very common. If you have gone through this secret of how one bubble, as it comes down into a lower planes, how it gets multiplied by 777. It's all a multiplication of seven times. So at the densest, it is the highest number of globules. At the dense physical body, it will have the highest number of bubbles. So that is what he talks about. So what is his ultimate physical atom, and who is controlling this? So that is what is said in the second point. So it is a will force of the solar deity, continuously exercised, which holds these atoms together as such. And when we try to examine the action of that force, we see that it does not come into an atom from outside, but wells up within it. So as I described in the last slide, so it is the will force, again, the will aspect, which we talked about in the planet, chapter planet. Again, that will force is coming here. So it is the will force of the deity that is continuously exercised. If he wills to suspend all these globules, he has the will to do it. But if he wills to keep all this, if he wants to fill all these globules with life, he can still do it. So that is what it is telling. And that is where it is coming. This inner energy, what is there, it is what is there already, what is already there in this atom. It is not coming anywhere from outside. So it is already there within. So that is the entire takeaway message from this chapter. And this is what forms the globule. So vitality, the prana, it comes in a certain globule. It covers and it comes in a certain globule. So when vitality wells up within the atom, it endows it with an additional life and gives it a power of attraction, so that it immediately draws around it 6 other atoms, which it arranges in a definite form. This making what has been called in occult chemistry the hypermetaproto element. So he talks about this hypermetaproto element, and he gives just a reference that all these things are taken from the book Occult Chemistry. For more details, you have to refer Occult Chemistry. But if we don't talk a little bit about this, so we will not be making justice. We will just will not understand. Going ahead, will not understand what is this one, what is this 6, what is this globule. So this is what is a globule. So one thing is the ultimate physical atom, that one energy, ultimate physical atom, the life comes into it and it draws 6 other atoms. So 1 becomes 2, 2, 3. And when you see at the last image here, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 1 plus the 6 other atoms, it is combined together. And this force is not coming from anywhere outside. It is all coming, it is all there within. So this is what is called a globule. So for more details, we have to go into occult chemistry, which I myself have not read, to be frank. But just to explain this bit, I captured this image, and whatever the explanation was given above and below, I just grabbed it, and I'm just trying to tell you, just to spark that interest, so that you go back and refer in detail. Basic thing is, this is the globule. The prana enters that globule. And 1 becomes 6. So what is that 1 and what is that 6, and how those 6 forces work in our body? We'll see it in the next slides. Okay, again, these are just for your reference. This is the whatever you see in the serpent snake-like formation, right? So that is the oxygen atom, and that oxygen atom also has similar kind of energy that is inbuilt. And the other thing example is what is given is in the radium. This is the atom radium. So in between, at the center of this radium also has similar kind of prana of the vitality globule. Just to give you an example, nothing to worry much about that. So that is about the vitality globule. So what it does, so how it works on the human body. So that is what we ultimately want to know of this entire chapter, right? So while the force this vivifies the globules in quite different from light, it nevertheless appears to depend upon light for its power of manifestation. In brilliant sunshine, this vitality is constantly welling up afresh, and the globules are generated with great rapidity and in incredible numbers. But in cloudy weather, there is a great diminution of the number of globules formed, etc. So we all know when you go out and you just close your eyes and you look up to your sun, you feel that dark yellowish thing, then that yellow becomes slightly orangish, or it becomes slightly lighter yellow, and you can see some dust particle kind of a things. If you can't, anybody can relate this. You can see some kind of a dust particles coming. It flashes. That looks very similar to this shape. It looks very similar. You can try it on your own. Just look up your sun close, and you'll see one or two this dust kind of a particles there in your eyes. So what happens is, when we are exposed to the sun, it may be anything, humans, plants, or animals. So all this vitality that is entering our body, and that is entering our body at a it's not directly entering into this physical body. It first comes to the astral. They say it comes to the spleen region. Spleen is nothing but at the tip of your backbone. Kundalini, what they usually refer to that Mooladhara, whatever that base. So that is where this energy starts to enter from the astral into the physical plane. So when we're exposed to sun, so these are the things that happen. Of course, our head is also exposed. That's why they tell you keep all your things exposed. And related to this, you can always relate to many different things, that why we need to have our food before 6 o'clock, because this vitality, these globules are stored. It is stored in our body, and it's not going to decompose, or it is not going to get absorbed by any other particle. So during daytime, all these globules are stored in our body. And during the night, when our egos are very, very less, or when we are completely forgotten, so all the body recovery, whatever we say that body recovers. You sleep well, your body will recover. So doctors say that, right? So when we sleep and when our ego is at its minimum, so all these globules are working for us. It works for us. It works in the repair of any diseases that we have, or it helps in digestion, respiration, as Suryaji was pointing out. Everything, this is the base. So the reason why we need to eat before 6 o'clock, before sunset, is so that you don't waste that extra globules at the night. Because at night, those globules are there to repair your body, not to digest. Digestion, if it happens before you sleep, because sun is there up to 6, so these globules are working for you. So you eat before digestion is taken care, so that at the night, all this energy works for the betterment of your body, so for better conditioning of your body. And that is also other reason where people say that young kids should not sleep with elderly people for a longer duration of time, like 3 months or 6 months, especially if the elder people are deceased or etc., because it gets absorbed. These globules, it gets absorbed from that child, because children have the stock. They have additional stock of all these globules. They are energetic. And because the elderly person is in need of this energy, the energy from the child, the globules from the child gets absorbed to the elderly person. So that is another reason. So all these various examples which comes in our from our ancient wisdom, whatever we call, at least in the Indian context, you can all relate with this scientific background, what we call as globule. You can give a lot of experience. This is 2 or 3 things that I just wanted to mention, but I know most of you can relate and experience many things. So now this is what is vitality globule. So now how it works in our body, we'll see it in the next slide. So how is this absorbed? How is this vitality globule absorbed? So this is absorbed by all living things. So don't worry about all this. I'll go very quickly. So we all know it is sunlight. If you take it as white, so when white light enters a prism, it comes out in 7 different colors. Again, that number 7 comes. It keeps coming in the first 2 chapters. The 777. It's all interlinked. It keeps coming. So again, you can link to what I said in the previous hyper meta proto element. I said so 1 becomes 7. So here also, when you see the white light becomes 7 white lights. So same concept applies here. So the sun's light, when it comes, it breaks it into different colors. Again, this colors is nothing but, again, because of radiation, because of frequency, different colors have different frequency. And when it breaks up, it will have different colors in our body. So how this works, this is one very simple diagram through which I would like to explain this very quickly. Otherwise, So this is how it enters our body. As I said, it enters through the spleen. Spleen is nothing but at the tip of your backbone. So that is again from where this energy comes. Again, because this energy is not there in the body, it comes from the higher dimension. So it comes from the higher dimension is nothing but it comes from the astral. Actually, the higher dimension, it comes from the higher dimension to our physical dimension. So that is what is represented by this circle. And then it splits into 7 different colors. One is rose pink, blue, violet, dark red, orange, yellow, etc. So the rose pink is what is called the prana. That is what goes through the entire body. It maybe you can call it as a blood circulation or your respiration. It is combined effect. So this rose pink is what goes through the entire body. It monitors or controls the entire body through your circulatory system or through your respiratory system, for example. So this blue and violet, it goes into this Vishuddhi chakra, or what you call is this throat center. And this yellow is the anahata, or what we call the heart center. So the green, it goes into the navel or the abdominal region responsible for all the sexual activities, etc. And this orange comes to the base of the spine. Again, it has all this digestion kind of activities, etc. So all these globules, this is how it works unknowingly, day in, day out, 24/7, without our knowledge. All these things are working in our body. So this is how it works. So this is what I wanted to say with this. So what happens when we are more conscious, when we really relate to all the examples that I gave, why we should eat before 6 o'clock, or children should not sleep for an extended, or why we should not, healing. They talk about healing, right? Healing also works in the same aspect. So person who is a healer, he has abundant stock of this vitality globules, so he can send out those to the other person and heal. So healing also works in the same concept, but again, there are a lot of things, many courses, it cannot be learned through some course and do, but again, healing depends on the aspect of ego. The person who has his ego levels to the minimum, so he is the actual real healer. Anybody cannot go and do healing, or as it is done normally in the commercial aspect. So that is, his ego level should be low, and when that person's ego level is low and he himself has this extra stock of vitality, so that is when healing happens. Here he can heal the other person. So this is all the same concept based on this vitality or prana. I'll not waste much time. I think you all got the gist. So all these 7 colors, that is the same thing I have explained in all these points. So I put that image so that everybody can get grasp easily, and I can also finish it quickly. So what all this does, so once it is absorbed into the body, it also has to leave the body, right? It also has to leave. Definitely something that comes in, it has to go out. So this rose color, what I said, the rose color, so that is what goes out and forms the aura, health aura of the person. Everybody who might have read Man and His Forms and Thought Forms, or this aura, people talk about this aura. So similar to aura, there is an health aura. So a pink color, and it gets excreted through all the pores of the skin, or etc. It gets out of the skin, and that is what forms the health aura. People who have that vision can easily make out, seeing this health aura, that this person is very healthy, etc. All those things can be seen. So the green, it goes out to the ordinary waste, means it is responsible for the digestion, and whatever the waste material goes out. So the green ray exits there. I think I have given the explanation for all the others. I'll share the PPT. Nothing to worry. No need to worry too much about these colors. So blue color is responsible for the breath. So when we breathe out, so it goes out, exhalation. When exhalation happens, so all these energies goes out. Same thing happens to the plants, and author especially gives mentions about the eucalyptus and the palm tree. So these trees also absorb, plants also absorbs all this vitality, but they do not use up as humans use up. Humans need this vitality much more than what the plant needs. The plant uses up and it gives out. It gives out for the human. That is why we say, walk in the nature, you feel refreshed. That is nothing but all these plants that is emitting out this prana. When we are walking, we tend to absorb all that. There is sun, and sun is giving, but additional to that sun, all these plants, and they're also pouring out what they don't need, and we can all absorb. So that is another reason we can easily say that people say walk in nature, and we certainly feel refreshed. Walk on the beach, certainly feel refreshed. Walk barefoot. Again, all are interconnected. So these are the things which I needed to mention.
3 minutes more remaining, Varunji. Thank you.
Perfect. Last slide, only 3 points.
Yeah.
So author is cautioning the first point, very, very important. The flow of this vitality into or through any center or its intensification must not be confused entirely for the different development of the center, which is brought about by the awakening of the serpent fire. Kundalini, people talk of Kundalini, and you should not mistake this. All this happens to only awakened person. Every normal human being has this vitality, and we should not confuse this to be the Kundalini. It is there for everybody to experience. It is there for everybody to absorb and use this energy. But it all depends upon how much we use this energy. So we all draw the same vitality and specialize it, but many of us do not utilize it to the full because in various ways our lives are not pure and healthy and reasonable as they should be. Very simple. People who are awakened, they know how to use this energy, they'll use. People who are not aware, and people maybe who are studying, we will make use of this energy to certain extent. Of course, our body is getting repaired every day, everything is happening. That is, to that extent, everybody are using it. But if we are more aware, if we know how to use this energy, if we know how to channelize, we can make use of this energy for a much greater cause. So the last point, the one who coarsens his body with the use of meat, alcohol, tobacco can never employ his vitality to the full in the same way as a man of a purer living. This is all we know. Why we should not have meat, why we should not have alcohol. Okay. Why we should not have alcohol, tobacco, etc. So this is the reason, again, you can relate. The last point you can go through.
How sweet. She also wants to speak.
Yeah. So a particular individual of pure life maybe are often is stronger in the physical body than certain. Again, it's all self-explanatory, the last point. I don't want to waste too much time on that.
No, you have one more minute.
Theosophical background, I think people in theosophical background, easy to relate these 3 points. It is all self-explanatory. It is simply saying that, it's there, this energy is there. And the 2 aspects, again, 2 main aspects, I'll just conclude. One is the evolution happens through cycles, and the will aspect. These 2 again gets reflected in one way or directly or indirectly in this chapter also. So these are 2 points to remember, and we can relate. And if we have that will, and if we have that intention to work according to the laws of the nature, so all these energies can work for us. So that is what ultimately we can conclude in these 2 chapters put together. I think here I'll stop. These are all the group activities. This is done for the youth convention, so nothing to worry. I think all of you know about the prana. Maybe if required, I'll touch upon this at the end. Otherwise, I'll stop here so that others can continue. And maybe at the end, I'll just take 2 minutes.
Deepika ji, yes, your video is on. Please continue. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Next మనం కంటిన్యూ చేస్తుంటే తేజము ద అబ్జర్ప్షన్ ఆఫ్ వైటాలిటీ, తేజము ఆకలింపు చేసుకోవడం. ప్రతి జీవ కణంలోని మనకి తేజం కలిగి ఉంటుంది. అంటే ప్రతి ఒక జీవి జీవిస్తుంది అంటే దానిలో ఒక శక్తి అన్నది ఉంటుంది. అదే ఈ తేజం అన్నమాట. ఇదే అన్నిటికీ మూలం. ఇది ఈదరికి డబ్బుల్లో కేంద్రం లేదా సుడిగుండం ద్వారా గ్రహించబడుతూ ఉంటుంది. ఇది ప్లిహాని అనుగుణంగా ఉంటుంది. ఈ కేంద్రం 6 అని చెప్పి గుర్తు పెట్టుకోవాల్సి ఉంటుంది. 6 రేకులు సుడిగుండాలు కలిగించే శక్తుల యొక్క కదలికల్ని తయారు చేస్తూ ఉంటుంది. దీన్ని కదలికల నుండి వెలువడే ఇతర శక్తులు రేడియేషన్లు వల్ల సంభవిస్తూ ఉంటుంది. ఇది ఒక సుడి కేంద్రం. దాని కేంద్రం బిందువు చక్రం యొక్క కేంద్రంగా చిత్రీకరించబడుతుంది. శక్తులు ప్రసారించే దారుల ద్వారా సూచించబడుతూ ఉంటాయి. అక్కడి నుండి సరళ రేఖలు, అప్పటి నుండి వెర్టికల్ దళాలు, అలాగే 2, 3, 4 ఇలా అన్ని 6 కేంద్రాలుగా అవి జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. పైగా అవి ఒక రకమైన ఒక రకమైన ఈథరిక్ బాస్కెట్ వర్క్ అన్నవి 6 రేఖల రూపంలో జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. వీటిని డిప్రెషన్ ద్వారా ఈ పద్ధతి అన్నది జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. మనకి తెలిసిందే ఈ సూర్యరశ్మి సన్ రేస్ హీట్ ఆర్ కాంతి అన్నది మనకి 7 రంగుల సమూహం. అంటే ఇది మనకి చూడడానికి కలర్‌లెస్ గా ఉంటుంది. అంటే ఎటువంటి రంగులు లేనటువంటిగా. కానీ అన్ని కలర్స్ అందులోనే ఉంటాయి. అందులో నుంచి వచ్చిందే. లాస్ట్‌కి వైట్ లైట్ అంటే ఒక శ్వేత రంగు నుండి ఇవన్నీ వెలువడుతూ ఉంటాయి. వీటిలో మనం శాస్త్రజ్ఞులు చెప్పిన విధంగా మనం వైలెట్ నుంచి బ్లూ వరకు స్పెక్ట్రమ్ సిరీస్‌ని తీసుకోవడం జరిగితే విభజన జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. అందులో మనకి భాగంగా ప్రథమంగా మనకి 3 రంగులు మాత్రమే ఉంటాయి. వాటిలో నుంచి 2 రకాలుగా విభజన జరిగి మనకి 6 రంగులు ఇంకా మల్టిపుల్ చాలా రంగులు అన్నవి విభజన జరిగాయి. మొదటిగా ఎరుపు రెడ్ అని పిలిచే వాటిని 2 రకాలుగా విభజన చేశారు. అదేంటంటే లేత గులాబీ ఎరుపు. దాన్నే ప్రాణశక్తి అంటాం. ముందు మనకి వరుణ్ గారు చెప్పినట్టుగా గులాబీ ఎరుపు అనేది మనకి ప్రాణశక్తి ఉండేది. మరియు ముదురు ఎరుపు. అలాగే వైలెట్, నీలం, ఆకుపచ్చ, పసుపు, నారింజ మరియు ముదురు ఎరుపు 7వది లేదా గులాబీ ఎరుపు. ఆ నువ్వులు శక్తి యొక్క నిక్షేపాలుగా కనబడుతూ ఉంటాయి మనకి. ఈ సుడి మధ్యలో ఈ శక్తి అన్నది వెళ్తూ ఉంటది. దాన్నే తేజము అని మనం స్పష్టంగా చెప్తూ ఉంటాం. దాన్ని మన శరీరం గుండా అన్ని చోట్లకి అది ప్రసారం జరుగుతూ ఉంటది. కానీ ఇవి కొన్ని భారతీయ పుస్తకాల్లోనే దీన్ని రచించడం జరిగింది. దీని వివరణ కూడా అందులో చాలా బాగా మనకి చెప్పడం జరిగింది. ప్లీనిక్ కేంద్రం నుండి ఈ నీలంలోకి జారి వేసిన తర్వాత వైలెట్ కిరణాలతో ఇవి కలుస్తాయి. అలాగే నారింజ మరియు ముదురు ఎరుపు రంగులతో ఇవి శరీరం అంతా ప్రసారం జరుగుతూ ఉంటాయి. వీటినే 7 భాగాలుగా మనం 7 చక్రాలుగా చెప్పడం జరుగుతూ ఉంటది. మొదటిది మూలాధారం, రెండవది స్వాదిష్టానం, మూడవది మణిపూరిక, నాలుగవది ఆనాహత, ఐదవది విశుద్ధ, ఆరవది ఆజ్ఞ, ఏడవది సహస్రారం. ఇలా 7 చక్రాలుగా వీటిని రంగులచే మనం విభజన చెప్పడం జరిగింది. మొత్తానికి ఈ సబ్జెక్ట్ యొక్క సారాంశానికి వస్తే మనం ఇది పూర్తిగా భౌతికము మరియు మానసికము, అలాగే మన సంకల్పం ఎలా మనం మంచిగా మన అలవాట్లను మార్చుకుంటాం అన్నది. మన అలవాట్లు శారీరకంగా మరియు మానసికంగా ఎప్పుడైతే సంతుల్యత చెందుతాయో అప్పుడు మనకి ఒక ఆరోగ్యకరమైన, శాంతిపరమైన, ఆనందకరమైన జీవితం అన్నది లభిస్తూ ఉంటది. అది మన నుంచి పక్కన వారికి కూడా అది వెళ్ళడం జరుగుతూ ఉంటది. వీటిని తెలుసుకుంటూ మనం నడుచుకుంటూ ఉంటే ఇటువంటి భౌతికమైన ఎటువంటి ప్రభావాలనైనా మన విల్ పవర్‌తో, మన సంకల్పంతో మనం వాటిని సక్రమంగా జీవించడానికి, అధిగమించడానికి సహకరిస్తూ ఉంటది. ఇందులో మనకి మొత్తంగా తెలిసేదేంటంటే ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి ఈ శక్తి అన్నది ఒకటే. ప్రతి మనిషిలోని, ప్రతి జీవిలోని అందరికి ఇటువంటి శక్తి అన్నదే ఉంటుంది. సూర్యుడి నుంచి కూడా మనం ఆ శక్తినే గ్రహిస్తూ ఉంటాం. కానీ మార్పు ఎక్కడొస్తదంటే మన మానసికంగా మనం చేసే పనులు, ఆలోచనల ద్వారా మనకి వస్తది. కాబట్టి దీనిపై మనం అవగాహన పెంచుకొని అలాగే ఆ శక్తిని ఎలా ఉపయోగించుకోవాలో మనం ఇంకొంచెం బాగుగా ఆలోచిస్తూ ఉంటే మనకి ఒక మానసిక స్థిరత్వం లభిస్తుంది. దానిచే అందరం ప్రశాంతంగా జీవించొచ్చు ఆనందకరంగా. సో ఇది సారాంశం, కంక్లూజన్ సార్, అండ్ ఇట్స్ కంప్లీటెడ్.
Thank you, Deepika ji. Very sweetly done. Surila ji, please continue.
Yes. I'll just complete the next 2 parts. So coming to the third aspect, जो ब्रदर वरुण और सिस्टर दीपिका ने बताया, वाइटलिटी ग्लोब्यूल के बारे में, जीवन शक्ति के जो ग्लोब्यूल हैं, ठीक है, इसका ये सारा अर्थ निकलता है कि परमाणु जो है, जो हम एटम लेवल पे उस हीट एनर्जी को अभी हम सुनते आ रहे थे, वो ये परमाणु क्या है, ये उस शक्ति की एक अभिव्यक्ति है। जो सौर देवता हैं, सूर्य देवता जो हैं, जिनका एक निश्चित आकार हम देखते रहते हैं, और उनमें से जो एनर्जी ट्रांसमिट होके एटॉमिक लेवल पे हर फिजिकल एटम में हम लोग उसको एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं, वो उसी का ही एक पार्ट है। तो हम लोग जैसे कनेक्टेड हैं, इसलिए हम शायद थियोसॉफी में जो इतनी बार पढ़ते रहते हैं ना, वी आर स्पार्क ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर फायर, और वी आर स्पार्क ऑफ दैट वन एनर्जी, तो वही है ये। तो जो सौरमंडल फिजिकल लेवल पे हम देख रहे हैं, और उसका एक बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग फोर्स है। वो जो भी एनर्जी की जो ताकत है, या जो एनर्जी है हम जिसको एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं, वो फोर्स इम्पैक्टफुल है, और ये हर लेवल पे जाके उसका एक इन्फ्लुएंस होता है। दैट इज वाई ये जो हम लोग पढ़ रहे हैं ना, हाउ वी आर इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय द सन, सूरज से हम कैसे इन्फ्लुएंस्ड है, ये इसी का ही महत्व है कि छोटे छोटे कण कण में आके ये एनर्जी वाइब्रेंट एनर्जी है, वो उसका ही रिफ्लेक्शन है, उसी का ही पार्ट है। और इसीलिए जो ऑक्कल केमिस्ट्री जो लोग पढ़ते हैं, जिन लोगों ने थोड़ा रिसर्च किया होगा, वो उसकी साइंस को बड़े क्लियरली देख पाएंगे और समझ पाएंगे। हम लोग बस उसको एक इमेजिनेशन लेवल पे आप देख पा रहे हैं, और थोड़े बहुत एक्सपीरियंस कर पा रहे हैं। ये जो फोर्स है, जो ये इन ग्लोब्यूल्स को जीवित करता है, तो क्योंकि लाइफ फोर्स एक बड़ा सा है, और वो छोटी छोटी चीजों में आके रिफ्लेक्ट करता है, और उसको जकड़ के रखता है, और उसमें लाइफ भरता है। दैट इज वाई ये ग्लोब्यूल्स जो है, वो मेन बड़े एटम से, जो बोलते हैं ना, बड़े एटम से छोटे एटम जैसे कनेक्ट होते हैं, उस तरह से है। और इसमें प्रकाश भी है, और इट्स नॉट अबाउट जस्ट हीट एनर्जी, इट इज ऑल्सो अबाउट लाइट एनर्जी। सूरज में खाली हीट नहीं है, वो लाइट भी है, प्रकाश है, सूरज है, तभी हम सुबह एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं, ठीक है ना। और उन्हीं के चारों तरफ हम एज द सैटेलाइट्स और अर्थ, जो भी हम उनके चारों तरफ घूमते हैं, और उसी से ही हम प्रकाश और एनर्जी दोनों लेते हैं। और जहां तक प्रकाश की बात आती है, वहां पे कलर्स की बात आती है। इसलिए जब हम अब्जॉर्प्शन ऑफ वाइटलिटी या जीवन शक्ति का अवशोषण करना, या फिर उसको अब्सॉर्ब करना, जब यहाँ की बात आई, इसमें कलर्स की बात आती है। बहुत ही सिंपल चीज है, अगर आप देखेंगे ना, जैसे फिजिकल कलर्स जो हैं, जैसे हम पेंट करते हैं जिस कलर को, हम क्या करते हैं, जब भी हम सारे कलर को मिला देंगे, वो क्या बन जाता है, वो ब्लैक हो जाता है। हम बोलते हैं ना, सारा कलर मिल गया, अब वो ब्लैक है। लेकिन जहां लाइट एनर्जी की बात है, जहां हम प्रकाश की बात करते हैं, वहां पे जब सारे कलर्स को आप मिलाएंगे और किसी शीशे से देखेंगे, वो क्या दिखेगा, हमें श्वेत दिखेगा, व्हाइट दिखेगा, क्योंकि व्हाइट से ये बना है और ये विचरित हुआ है। दैट मीन्स द होल रे व्हेन इज ट्रांसमिटेड और अलग अलग डायरेक्शन में चला गया है, अलग अलग कलर्स में वो दिखता है, और सारे कलर्स जब मिल जाएंगे वो व्हाइट होता है। दैट इज वाई हम लोग बोलते हैं कि जो श्वेत प्रकाश है, जिसको हम श्वेत कलर को या श्वेत रंग को हम लोग बहुत ही हाई एनर्जी के साथ एसोसिएट करते हैं। ये नहीं कि उसमें कुछ भी नहीं, हम बोलते हैं ना व्हाइट माने कुछ भी नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है। वो व्हाइट है, वो प्रकाश इतना उज्जवल है, उस उज्जवलता के अंदर सारे रंग समाये गए हैं। और इसलिए जितने भी रंग की बात हम करते हैं, बैंगनी, नीला, हरा, पीला, लाल, नारंगी, ये सब जितने भी कलर हैं, जैसे हम लोग इंद्रधनुष की बात अगर करें, हम बोलते हैं ना 7 रंग, वही व्हाइट लाइट कैसे 7 रंगों में दिखाई देता है। जब हम ऑब्जर्व करते हैं, उसी कलर को भी हम ऑब्जर्व करते हैं, और उसी कलर से भी डिफरेंट डायरेक्शन में और डिफरेंट एनर्जी सेंटर में उस कलर का रिफ्लेक्शन अलग आता है। जैसे ब्रदर वरुण ने काफी डिटेल में बताया कि कौन से लेवल पे कौन सा कलर आता है, मैं उन चीजों में नहीं जा रही हूँ साइंस के अंदर, बट एटलीस्ट हम इतना जानते हैं कि वो श्वेत प्रकाश को हम जैसे ऑब्जर्व करते हैं, उनमें छुपे हुए वो रंग कहाँ कहाँ कैसे फॉर्म करेगा और कहाँ कहाँ रिफ्लेक्ट करेगा, ये हमारे पूरी बॉडी के ऊपर है। एंड इंटरेस्टिंगली यहाँ पे भी एक बात मैं जोड़ना चाहूंगी कि हम कितने क्लीन हैं, खाली ऑब्जर्व करने से नहीं होगा, हमारा वो भी इतना ट्रांसपेरेंट होना चाहिए। किसी भी अच्छे स्तर की एनर्जी को लेने के लिए हमारा बॉडी उतना स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए, हमारी बॉडी उतनी प्योर हो। प्योरिटी और स्ट्रेंथ से हम उस एनर्जी को अच्छे से ऑब्जर्व कर पाएंगे। दैट इज वाई जो हमारा एक वाइटलिटी एंड हेल्थ की उन्होंने बात की कि जीवन शक्ति तो है और उसके साथ हेल्थ को क्यों जोड़ा गया है। हम सुबह उठते हैं, तरह तरह के काम में लग जाते हैं, हम कितने एनर्जेटिक रहते हैं, क्या एक्सरसाइज करते हैं, हम डल होते हैं या एक्टिव होते हैं, ये सब डिपेंड करता है हम भौतिक स्तर में कैसे हैं। इसलिए ये फिजिकल बॉडी में भी ऑब्जर्वेशन का बहुत ही महत्व है। हेल्दी इन हार्ट, माइंड एंड सोल और हेल्दी इन द बॉडी, ये बहुत मायने रखता है। और अगर हम सूर्य से इन्फ्लुएंस होते हैं तो हम अपने अंदर भी उस चीज को जगाए कि मैं स्वस्थ रहूं और मैं उस एनर्जी को अच्छे से ऑब्जर्व करूं, उन सारे रंगों में मैं रंगूं, वो श्वेत शक्ति जो है उस शक्ति को मैं अपने अंदर लूं। और जो एनर्जी पूरा सोलर सिस्टम को कायम रखी है, जो एनर्जी से पूरा यूनिवर्स इतना वाइब्रेंट है और इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग है, मेरा जो कण है, जिस बॉडी को मैं आज लेके एक्सपीरियंस करने में लगा हूं, उस बॉडी को भी मैं स्वस्थ रखूं इसी सोलर एनर्जी से। दैट इज वाई ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। और एक एस्पेक्ट जो मैं यहाँ पे भी फिर से बोलना चाहूंगी कि मुझे क्या खाना है, क्या पीना है, किस तरह के चीजों को मैं अपने बॉडी के साथ जोड़ रहा होता हूँ, हर इंसान को सोचना पड़ेगा। दैट इज वाई ये जो एनिमल फ्लेश खाना या फिर अल्कोहल लेना या फिर तरह तरह के जो नशे करने के लिए पदार्थ हम लेते हैं, हम अपने शरीर को खराब करते हैं। और हमारे एक ही तो ये फिजिकल शरीर तो है नहीं ना, हमारे बहुत अलग अलग शरीर। हमें पता है कि हमारे सातों शरीर को अगर हमें स्वस्थ रखना है, हम फिजिकल से स्टार्ट करेंगे, क्योंकि एनर्जी ऑब्जर्व जो करने के लिए जो शरीर हमें दिखता है उसको तो स्वस्थ रखें, और वहीं से शुरुआत होगी। और कोई भी इंसान जब चल बसता है और जब उसका प्राण निकल जाता है, कुछ समय तक उसके हमें लगता है कि वो प्राण नहीं तो स्थिर हो गया, और वो नहीं है। बट कई लोग ऐसे हैं, वो अच्छे प्रैक्टिस में हैं, वो अपने वो जो प्राणिक एनर्जी है, उस प्राणिक एनर्जी से उस बंदे को थोड़ा बहुत हील कर पाते हैं कहीं ना कहीं। बहुत बार हमने इस तरह के कहानियां सुनी होगी, या पता नहीं आप लोगों ने पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस किया होगा, जो थोड़े बहुत बड़े बुजुर्ग हैं यहाँ पे, कि हम उस शरीर को तो बोल दिया गया था, डॉक्टर ने तो उसको अनाउंस कर दिया था डेड, लेकिन किसी के पास गए, उन्होंने कुछ उनकी हीलिंग करी। कहीं ना कहीं वो प्राण जो है ना, कहीं ना कहीं जैसे बोलते हैं ना, कहीं अटका हुआ है, उससे एक एनर्जी मिल जाएगी तो वो, जैसे हमारी बैटरी की चार्ज, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग एग्जांपल है, मेरा मोबाइल है, एकदम रेड लाइन आ चुकी है, थोड़ा सा पावर देने से वो थोड़ा बहुत काम करने लगता है। हम सबके बॉडी में भी ऐसा है, तो इसलिए वो हेल्थ एस्पेक्ट बहुत जरूरी है। जैसे डॉक्टर्स लगे होते हैं हमें हील करने के लिए, हमारे अंदर की शक्ति को थोड़ा बहुत ठीक करने के लिए, ऐसे एक स्पिरिचुअल एनर्जी जो है, वही जो श्वेत प्रकाश की बात मैं कर रही हूँ, it has got tremendous spiritual energy। और हम लोग हर एक इंडिविजुअल जो थियोसॉफी से जुड़े हैं, हम पहले अपने बॉडी को ठीक करें और कोशिश करें कि हम अपनी एनर्जी से थोड़े बहुत वाइब्रेशन किसी को दें। जैसे हमारा भी अगर ऑरा अच्छा सा क्रिएट हो रहा है, कोई दुखी है, कोई दुर्बल है, तो थोड़ा उसको चार्ज करें जाके। जरूरी नहीं कि खाली हम सन से इन्फ्लुएंस्ड हो, हम भी तो थोड़े बहुत इन्फ्लुएंस करें किसी को जाके। हमारे प्राण शक्ति में से तो कोई चार्ज अप हो, मैं ये मानती हूँ। थैंक यू सो मच।
अम्मा अम्मा अम्मा
आपका शायद माइक ऑफ है।
धन्यवाद सुनीला जी। वरुण जी, क्वेश्चन है जो अबान जी ने पूछा था कि आपने ये सारी इमेजेस कहाँ से ली, क्योंकि बुक्स जो है हिडन साइड में तो नहीं है।
Good question, because yeah, you will not get it in hidden side of things.
I have put it in the
चैट बॉक्स में क्वेश्चन है, आप आंसर कर सकते हैं कि आपने कहाँ से ली।
So these are the books. So this one chapter, I have referred all these books. You have to read, because simply reading, is my screen visible?
yes, we can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So when screen, is it visible?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I just read this chapter simply without referring any other book, so my understanding was different. But wherever the author had given some reference, so you need to go through these books. So I have taken images from occult chemistry, all those hyper meta proto element. Those 3 images what I have taken is from occult chemistry. I have taken all the chains and the solar systems and things related. I have taken it from the solar system from Arthur Powell.
So
And
solar
chakras of,
system.
yeah, the solar system by Arthur Powell. This is very important book
Yes. Yes,
in order
it
to
is.
understand. In order to
Yes.
understand this change,
Yeah.
how the evolution happens, and all
Correct.
the details about how many millions of years that evolution goes, and how we are all
No,
dependent.
but for those atoms which you have shown, that
Occult chemistry. That is
Occult
occult
chemistry.
chemistry. That is occult chemistry.
That's wonderful, Varun, because if a reference is given in some chapter of some books and you refer, the entire talk or entire vision changes of the viewers. Really
Because it
nice
is
to compile all these books. Wonderful.
when there is audio and visuals, we grasp it much better. And especially a subject like this, which is so foreign to so many of us. And that is
Yes.
why I wanted to know from where you got all these, which made the thing so very.
That's
Thank
why
you,
I put
Abanji.
this at, that's why the intention of this talk was only to provoke that interest, because all these things I cannot tell it in a 15-20 minute
No,
session.
that's why
yeah.
we kept your second time about what first time it was discussed about planets, now sun, and maybe we will continue with such studies with you, Varun. Yes, Vimal ji, आपने hand raise किया था, बोलिए. या विमल जी, नहीं आपका ऑडियो नहीं आ रहा है.
Mute.
No, because muted. Unmute.
हाँ, you have to unmute.
Sorry.
Now it is coming.
What the question that I'm wanting to ask is that connected to, you said there are three kinds of energy, basically the serpent fire, the pranic energy, and you mentioned Fahar. So now we don't know what is serpent energy, that is not clear at all, but pranic energy we understand is coming from the sun. Am I right?
Vitality, yeah.
Yeah, it's coming from the sun. Now, you did mention something which I think is a bit wrong, or maybe I heard it wrong, but you said that it is absorbed by the astral body first, and it's not the astral body that it's absorbed by. It's absorbed
Higher
by
dimension
the
you can.
etheric double. Yeah,
Etheric double. Perfect. Etheric double.
Yeah. It is absorbed by the etheric double because the etheric double has a spleen chakra.
Correct.
The chakras are in our etheric double. So that's just a small correction, but otherwise beautiful lecture. Now, one thing like what I wanted to understand about this thing that these three energies, could there be any correlation between Satchit Ananda? Do you have any idea about that? Because it like seems kind of strange that there are three energies in the solar system which are very different from each other, and then we have the division of our solar deity as Satchitananda. That's one question. Second question, you know that in the secret doctrine, it's been said that the sun, the visible sun, is not the actual sun, but it is a reflection of the some other bigger entity. Now, what is the meaning of that? I think if you don't know, maybe other seniors can answer, because I never understood that statement.
Yeah, regarding Satchit Ananda, I think we can relate, but again, we have to go a little bit more. I am slightly on this when we talk about these atoms and all these things. When we look at the scientific aspects, and when you closely go in depth, right? I think it'll correlate what Satchit Ananda, but I am not an expert in the other aspect, but blindly speaking, I think there will be a relation, because this Trinity, whatever this Trinity aspect is spoken about in all these religions, Holy Father, Son, Holy Ghost, they say, Satchitananda, Brahma, Vishnu, Ishvara, they say, all these are related to scientifically. When we talk also, these are three energies, and all these different religions, when we dig deep, everybody talks about these three, whatever it may be. The names may be different, but they're ideally talking of some kind of a force. When we think in that aspect, I think it can be related, but again, yeah, we have to go in deep. People who have the knowledge of both the science background and this esoteric philosophy, thorough knowledge, I think they are the best people who can, combine both and tell us. But I think it can be.
Yeah. Okay, you have given an idea Now let me find such people and maybe we can have one more such beautiful thing. Okay. Anyone else? I think Chandrakant ji is there. Shinde ji, Mithlani ji is there.
I think
If
second
anyone wants to
question, yeah, second question, sun is a reflection of something bigger.
Is there?
That also, it may be a possibility because even sun goes through evolution. So it might be, there might be something bigger than that sun. And whatever the black holes and whatever we speak, nothing is going to end. They say that once it gets absorbed, if you see like this, once it gets absorbed in the black hole, it has to come out the other way. So
Correct.
something goes out, something there is ready to get created on the other side. So that is the simple way of looking. So maybe, yeah, sun, again, it may be.
Thanks.
I have to go through.
Thank you. Thank you, Varun. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Vimal ji. If there is anyone else who wants to share something quickly in 1 minute or 2 minutes. Shinde ji is there, but his camera is not on. And Harshvardhan ji has also come. Okay. Chandrakant Shinde ji has also come now. Yes. Any one of you? 1 minute. We have time of 2-3 minutes.
It is good thing to remember that we draw energy from the earth beneath and heaven above. So both energy we get and it is needed for the existence, that is Sat. So Sat Chit, both are needed. For Chit we need energy from the heaven, and for this existence we need food energy from the earth beneath. So mother and father both are needed for the energy that we have in our existence. So this is how we can connect with the Satchit Ananda, with this Trinity. And Varun has explained very nicely, scientifically, nothing to argue with him. He has explained very nicely. We have to understand them. And he said spleen chakra, that is what the important, which absorbs the these vitality globules, and then these are distributed throughout the body. So we receive the energy from above through the etheric body, as Vimalji pointed out, that is the etheric chakra of spleen, and we receive from that vitality globules, and they are distributed in 6 ways to different streams. This is what C.W. Leadbeater explains, and these vitality globules are very important, as Varun explained how they are formed and how they help us to give us energy. They activate. Not only that, this water element is dominating this spleen chakra, and water is 80% in our body. And it controls all excretion and synthesis. Everything is going on through this spleen chakra. And it is supported by energy from above and energy from below. This is what I want to add in it. Otherwise, the explanation was very nice, Varun. Really, I must appreciate people like you must explain. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Really, Varun, it was wonderful. So, Sulna ji and so Deepika ji, you also very much.
Yes, Suvarnalena Hindi, very good explanation. Nice. And we could not understand Deepika's Telugu. In short, but very sweet.
Very sweet. Yeah. Yes, Harshvardhan ji, आप कुछ 1-2 मिनट में कहना चाहते हो? हर्षवर्धन जी, आप कुछ कहना चाहते हो 1-2 मिनट में? अनम्यूट कीजिए। नहीं, अनम्यूट कीजिए सर।
हाँ, श्योर।
हाँ,
आवाज आ रही है। ये सब्जेक्ट जो है वो काफी पेचीदा भी है और ऐसा भी सब्जेक्ट है कि जिसमें बड़े ही ऐसे लोग हैं जो हमें सही रास्ता बता सकते हैं, और कुछ ऐसी बातें भी है जिसमें रेकी से लेकर प्राणिक हीलिंग तक का उसमें प्रोसेस होता है। और प्राणिक हीलिंग की बात भी अभी हमारे रोहित लॉज में हुई थी लास्ट वीक से आगे। तो ये प्राणिक हीलिंग भी एक सोलर एनर्जी का ही प्रभाव है। और हमारे कई थियोसॉफिस्ट दोस्तों ने, जैसे जूनागढ़ से सोहिनी बेन शुक्ला, वो प्राणिक हीलिंग करती थी जूनागढ़ की अभी, और उसके साथ और भी कई हमारे थियोसॉफिस्ट सदस्य थे, काफी बुजुर्ग भी अभी हो गए हैं, लेकिन उनका अनुभव ये काफी अनुभव रहा है। उन्होंने इसके बारे में कई ऐसे रोगों को निकालने का और उनको ज्यादा ऐसा हम कह सकते हैं कि उनको एक फ्रेश तरीके से इनके दिमाग से कुछ बातें निकल जाए या कोई नॉर्मल सिस्टम में आ जाए, एबनॉर्मलिटी है वो निकल जाए, उनकी नर्वस सिस्टम अच्छी हो जाए, इस तरह का प्रयत्न मैंने देखा है और वेरी सक्सेसफुली वो हुआ है। तो ये हमारे लिए एज अ थियोसॉफिस्ट, हम जो ऑकल्ट साइंस पढ़ते हैं, लेडबीटर साहब की किताबों का हम अभ्यास करते हैं और हम जो कुछ भी समझते हैं उसमें ये सब सारी चीजें वो एक हमारा सब्जेक्ट बन जाता है कि जिसमें हम इसको जाने। तो कई लोग हैं जिनको इंटरेस्ट होता है कि भी हम किस तरह से इसमें आगे बढ़ सके, तो ये भी हमारे लिए एक ऐसी बात है और उपलब्धि होगी। इसमें कोई मतलब कि अभ्यास का एक सब्जेक्ट है हमारे लिए, और ऐसा सब्जेक्ट है जिसमें जिसको भी इंटरेस्ट हो वो आगे बढ़ सकता है। तो थियोसॉफिकल सोसाइटी तो वो क्या है कि इट क्योर्स द माइंड, इट क्योर्स अवर बॉडी, व्हेन माइंड इज क्योर्ड द बॉडी इज क्योर्ड एंड वी रिमेन वेरी हेल्दी। दिस इज द मेन सेंटर फोकल ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर प्रोसेस। तो हमें बड़ा मजा आता है। ठीक है, मेरी बात यहाँ पूरे प्रोग्राम में मैं नहीं था, इसलिए मैं अभी ज्यादा टिप्पणी कर सकता हूँ। थैंक यू।
जी। ओके, दिनाकरण जी, आफ्टर यू वी कैन क्लोज। या प्लीज अनम्यूट सर, प्लीज अनम्यूट।
Okay.
Yeah.
My voice is audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I listened to the talk of Brother Varun very carefully, and it was well presented with chart and all those things, PPT presentation. Hidden Side of Things is a book which we should read very seriously because it contains a lot of practical instructions to be followed. That's a quality of Leadbeater's books. Because knowingly or unknowingly, we influence people, we are influenced by people. We can do simple things which will help us to live in this world. So, I would like to congratulate Brother Varunji and the translator Swarlina Ji from Delhi. From her dress, I feel that Delhi is shivering like anything in the snow.
Yes.
So, okay, but in Kerala, climate is very moderate, and we are blessed with a mild winter. So I would like to listen more such talks from this Triveni program. I'm waiting such programs. Congratulations to organizers and speakers also. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I think now it's time. Deepika ji, Varun ji, and Sulna ji, do you want to add anything as you are the speakers? Or should we?
या जो रिक्की की बात की ना, उसके ऊपर हम डिस्कशन कर सकते हैं. आई थिंक वी शुड हैव वन सेशन ऑन प्राणिक हीलिंग.
Yes. And Varun bhai,
there are people who are doing it practically. They should speak.
Yeah, and some diagrams you were showing about. Then you tell that you will speak afterwards. So
just
will
quickly.
it take 1 or 2 minutes, or it will take?
Yeah, that's all. I think most
okay,
of
so you can show
just...
while we end. You can show the those slides, and we can end if you wish.
Yeah. This is only one slide. So the author mentions here in one of the things. So
you can share the screen.
Oh, I'm not sharing. Yeah, one second. Yeah. So in one of the slides, he clearly mentions this. I'll just take out. So vitality is a sevenfold in constitution, but it rushes through the body in 5 main streams. So, but it doesn't give the explanation of what these 5 streams are in this textbook. So, but most of us know the 5 pranas, right? From the Hindu background or the Hindu philosophy, these 5 pranas all know: the prana, apana, udana, samana, and dhyana. So these are the 5 different pranas. That is not explained, but again, how it works, what it works, I think this is all known. So prana is all related to the main circulatory system, and it goes through the head, lungs, and heart. The apana is the lower abdomen, and the udana is from the diaphragm and through the throat. It works. The samana is the navel. Vyana is originating from the heart and distributed throat. So that is the circulatory system. So when we are living, so these are the 5 ways it gets distributed through all our body. So these are the 5 things that he is talking about. He has not explained that, but what happens when we die? So again, we know, I'm just sharing the screen. So somewhere between 48 to 64 minutes after somebody is considered dead, the prana exits. So everybody know prana exits. So how these 5 prana exits at different levels. So between 6 to 12 hours, so udana exits. That is the first prana that exits out of the body. So udana. There are tantric process, again, as Surlajana was pointing out, we need not worry about this. So there are certain people who are tantric forces are there, so they can capture and bring back this udana. But once it goes past that udana, there is no way of bringing back life. So that is what is said here. So between 8 to 18 hours, apana exits. So then vyana exits. So between 11th and 14th day, that is when the entire prana exits. So that is why on the 11th day they do this tithi, or the 11th, according to the Hindu tradition. So that's why we do on the 11th day this tithi, because all these 11 days these pranas are still there. Although the physical body, physically we are dead, the pranas exit one by one, and at the end of 14th day is everything that goes away, and that is when we do tithi. And even in other religions, it may be Christianity, I think they have a ritual at the end of 5th day or 7th day or something. But all these things, when you dig deep, these are the scientific, these are things that we can relate. So this is one thing that I had to add, because it is not again explained in this chapter in the Eden side. And there are a lot of interesting chapters in this book. We have around 22, 23 chapters. Each one is scientific and interesting. I have the slides for all these chapters. Different people presented in the youth convention from different parts of the world, and my section was these 2. But how we get influenced by our own habits, how it affects us, all the things, entire thing, all the chapters. Again, it goes back to 2 basic things. One is the will aspect, and the other is the cyclic evolution. So everything is related to these 2 things. Again, these 2 things are spoken about even in Secret Doctrine or anywhere, any of the major texts, anything you take, all these things are related. And maybe, yeah, if required, we can do, I can take up some other chapters also. There are 23 chapters in this book. And
yes,
but yeah, I recommend everybody to read this. Now we have this background, but when we have a thorough knowledge of these 5 texts, and then when we come back and read this, maybe again we'll have a completely different understanding. But I think occult chemistry is one very important text we have to go through.
yes.
Chakras, solar system. So 1, 2, and 4. These 3 texts. Maybe we can do it as a group, or in your lodges, respective lodges, you can do it. And when you go through that, then come back, read this chapter, you will experience something very different. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. Thank you, Varun. That was really enlightening. And Deepika ji, who is this next generation theosophist? Can you please introduce him or her?
Yeah, sir. He is my little son.
Hi.
Yeah, he is world. He is my first child, actually.
Wow.
Newborn.
Very good. Okay, Atul bhai.
Attending
Yes.
in the theosophy class.
Wow. Okay, Atul bhai, we can go to the ending prayers.
ઓકે, કેશવરબેન શિવોમનું ગાન કરાવશે અને ત્યારબાદ આપણે સભાનું સમાપન કરીશું. કેશવરબેન, આપનું સ્વાગત છે.
मनोबुद्ध्य अहंकार चित्तानि नाहं न कर्णं न जीवा न च घ्राण नेत्रे न च व्योम भूमि न तेजो न वायुः चिदानंद रूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम्. शिवोऽहं 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 चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न च प्राणसंज्ञो न वै पञ्चवायु न वा सप्तधातुर्न वा पञ्चकोशः न वाक्पाणिपादौ न चापस्थपायुः चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं 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 चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मे द्वेषरागौ न मे लोभमोहौ मदो नैव मे नैव मत्सर्यभावः न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्षः चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं 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 चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्त्रो न तीर्थं न वेदा न यज्ञ अहं भोजनं नैव भोज्यं न भोक्तः चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं 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 चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न मृत्युर्न शङ्का न मे जातिभेदः पिता नैव मे नैव माता न जन्मः न बन्धुर्न मित्रं गुरुर्नैव शिष्यः चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं 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 चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपो विभुत्वा च सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणां न वा सङ्गतं नैव मुक्तिर्न मेयः चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं 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 चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं।
थैंक यू केशवर जी, सचमुच बहुत ही बढ़िया समापन होता है। और वाह, ये भी गा रही थी।